This is day 2 of reprogramming your mindset. This is a series that I'm starting where every single day I will be giving you a piece of mindset advice, whether it's a mental model, whether it's a data set, whether it's a way of living, whether it's a mental model from someone successful like Napoleon, Alexander the Great, Charlie Munger, Warren Buffett, Elon Musk, all the most successful people of all time. They have dominated their industries. I'll be teaching you how to reprogram your mind, how to actually utilize your subconscious mind, and every single thing that you need to do with mindset. I'll be teaching you it because I understand how important mindset is to your success. I think it was Napoleon Hill, or what was the fuck's his name? I can't remember the other guy's name, but he said that mindset is 95% of success and 5% of it is strategy. You can do all the work you want, but if you don't have a good mindset, you won't succeed, which is why I'm teaching you how to improve your mindset. Now today I am going to be giving you a mental model on something about Napoleon, who was probably one of the most successful people of all time. Obviously not in terms of riches, but in terms of dominating his industry, having power, having everything he wanted. If you don't know about Napoleon's success, every single entrepreneur that is successful has studied Napoleon. So I'm going to be giving you one of probably the most important lessons that I've learned from studying Napoleon. And it is pretty simple, and it was that to Napoleon, inaction was unbearable. Napoleon could not be doing nothing. There's a lot of quotes about this. I've got them on my screen right here because I can't fully remember them. But one of the most important ones is that Napoleon said this: inaction breeds doubt and fear. Action breeds confidence and courage. If you want to conquer fear, do not sit at home and think about it. Now, there's a lot of things that I could speak about with this. Firstly, it's the fact that if you want to be as successful as Napoleon, if you want to have as many people die for you as Napoleon, if you want to be such a conqueror as Napoleon, you can't be doing nothing. Napoleon was always doing something. If he wasn't out on the battlefields fighting, he would be plotting. If he wasn't plotting, he'd be reading. If he wasn't reading, he'd be thinking. He would always actually be doing something that would move the needle towards his goals. And that's why he got so far, because the universe works off of cause and effect. If you want a certain effect, you have to be doing something. If you want all the power, if you want the status, if you want the fame, if you want the money, if you want to win the wars, that's the effect that you want. So there's always going to be a cause, whether it's plotting, whether it's battling, whether it's reading. You can always be doing something to get towards your goal. Even if it doesn't make you direct progress, you can be doing something, no matter what it is, that will slowly move the needle towards your goals. And that is why Napoleon's so successful, because he was always doing something. Even if it was invisible progress, he would be making progress towards his goals. And that is probably the most important thing as to why he is successful. And you'll see this about most successful people that you study. They will always be doing something. They won't be spending 2 hours a day scrolling on TikTok. They won't be spending 2 hours a day doing some random bullshit that doesn't even move the needle. And obviously, if you don't want to be as successful as them, if you don't want to become a multi-billionaire because you know the consequences that can come with it, you don't have to always be doing something. And I do agree that rest is needed, and you can go spend time with your family, you can go spend time with your friends. Like the other night, it was New Year's Eve, I was out drinking. Obviously that's not moving me towards my goals, but I was having a fun time. But on days like this where you're just sat at home, you're not really doing anything, maybe you've been to the gym already, you've already done your work on your business or whatever it is you're doing, you kind of think to yourself, you can kind of celebrate, you've got a bit of pride because you've done a decent amount of work, you've been to the gym, you've eaten healthily. When you start to fall off, when you start to scroll on TikTok, when you go pick up a bag of crisps from the cupboard in your kitchen, that is, to Napoleon, unbearable. My bad. Napoleon could not be doing nothing. Napoleon could not be slacking. Fucking hell. I'm sorry, I'm a bit ill. It's fucking freezing out in England, so, I've got a cold and shit, but either way. Napoleon would never be doing nothing, and I think you should be the same. You've got to realise that there is always something that you could be doing. Even if you've done all your work and you've put a lot of brain points into your work, that actually the law of diminishing returns is starting to kick in, and whatever work you start doing, it won't be good quality. You can always be doing something. You can be learning something that can help you move forward in your business. You can just be reading a random book. For example, The Laws of Human Nature, Reality Transurfing, Psycho-Cybernetics. Just learning something so you can add more wisdom to your life, get closer to the truth about the universe. So when you're closer to the truth about the universe, you're going to be more successful because you're living more in alignment, but we won't get into that. You can always be doing something. Now, I know it's a very hustle culture mindset, but realistically, why are you not reading books instead of scrolling on TikTok? If you want to become such a successful entrepreneur, you need to be doing the actions of said successful entrepreneur before you actually become it. You need to be reading books, so you're becoming the identity of that character. You need to be learning something about your business so you can move forward in your business. You can always be doing something, and that's very, very important. So I want you to always think that. I always think that, to be fair. Don't get me wrong, I'm not always doing something, because a lot of the time I just use a lot of my brain points in the morning, so I'm more tired, I've got less energy later on at night. So I will scroll on Twitter a bit or whatever, watch some random YouTube video. But just thinking to yourself, I can always be doing something. Sometimes it does just give you that motivation to go do something, because you know you can always be doing something, and realistically you know you want to always be doing something, but sometimes you just don't. So I want you to think, what would Napoleon do right now? Would Napoleon be sitting in his bed scrolling on TikTok if he had access to it, obviously? No, he wouldn't. He'd be reading a book. He'd be plotting for the war. He'd be communicating to his soldiers. He'd be thinking, and thinking is actually a very powerful trait. Actually thinking, not just having thoughts, actually thinking and plotting in your mind. It's very important. And the second thing I want to speak about in action is that this quote really highlights it. An idle mind is the devil's workshop. I fucked it up there. An idle mind is the devil's workshop. Because realistically, when you're just sat at home, doing nothing really, maybe you're scrolling on TikTok, or maybe you're just sat in bed, the devil in your mind starts to take over. You start to overthink about things, you start to doubt yourself, negative emotions start to come in. I know you've experienced this because it's natural for everyone. It happens to me. If I'm just sat in bed doing nothing, or I'm sat on my computer doing nothing, sometimes doubts will come in. Sometimes I'll start thinking negatively. And this is because an idle mind is the devil's workshop. When your mind is not set on anything, when you're not focusing on anything, when you've not got your attention on one specific thing, the devil starts to come in. You start thinking negatively. And the only way to solve this is to not keep your mind idle. It is to always be doing something. Even if it's not doing something productive, even if it's going sitting in your lounge with your parents and watching TV, just occupying your mind with something. The fear, the doubt, the negative emotions, the devil in your mind, they will not have time to get in because your mind is occupied. So that's another very important lesson. That's two very important lessons from this video that you can take, and from the mind of Napoleon that you can dissect. An idle mind is the devil's workshop, and inaction is a sin. Inaction is something you cannot be doing. You can always be doing something. And that's what I want you to take from this video. Those two lessons. Idle mind's the devil's workshop. You can always be doing something. That's what I'm going to leave you with. But that's the end of the video. I've got two things I'd like to say. If you want to join me on this series of me making sure your mindset is top tier, reprogramming your mindset, rewiring your brain for wealth and success, actually making your mind a magnet to wealth and success, then subscribe to me. I'm going to try post every single day. And secondly, I go much more in depth into these topics inside my free newsletter. Every single day at 6 p.m, I'll be giving you an in-depth piece of mindset advice that you can install into your life that will rewire your brain, rewire your mindset, and actually make your mind more of one that deserves to be successful, because everything starts in your mind. That's what you need to understand. Before you can achieve it in reality, you must achieve it in your mind. The only way to achieve it in your mind is to have certain mental models, certain data sets, certain lessons from successful people, and that's what I will be teaching you in depth every single day inside my newsletter that is completely free. So if you want more in-depth mindset advice like this, then go join my newsletter. The link's in the bio, in my bio, or the description or the comments. And if you don't want to do that, just subscribe and watch my videos every single day, and I'll see you in the next video.